When I think about what my life has become and what it is now, like what my purpose is now, you know, I need to be useful. Me trying to, you know, I was trying to join a gang. I was I was hanging out with a bunch of Harpies members and was like fully jumped in and was a part of a gang. You know, I f***ed up bad, like crash and burn type shit. I hurt a lot of people.
The life of a child star is often a roller coaster filled with pressure, torment, and moments of anguish. For many, the fame and fortune at such a young age come with a heavy price. We've seen it time and time again with child stars who were once on top of the world, like Britney Spears, Lindsay Lohan, and Macaulay Culkin, only to spiral into personal struggles later on.
Yesterday, Britney Spears, a testimony that everybody's talking about. The 39-year-old pop superstar breaking her silence on that conservatorship has been controlling her life and her finances.
These are names that bring back memories for a lot of people, but behind the scenes, their lives were far from glamorous. Most of them gave up their childhoods to entertain the world, often pushed into the limelight by their parents and robbed of the chance to ever feel normal. While a few managed to crawl out of the trenches after years of turmoil and head towards a brighter future, the road was rough. Sadly, not all of them make it out. Enter Shia LaBeouf. Back in 2008, he was on top of the world. He had become an A-list actor, known worldwide for his roles in blockbuster hits like Transformers and Indiana Jones and The Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Oh God, no! Split! Going too fast. It's a matter of opinion.
Even Steven Spielberg himself called Shia the next big thing after working with him. Shia seemed to have it all: fame, fortune, and the admiration of millions. But then, as fast as he rose to stardom, things started to fall apart. From scandal after scandal, Shia's name popping up in the media became synonymous with trouble.
I have rights. I'm an American. You got me in my hotel, arrested me in my hotel for doing what, sir? Let's go. Yo, you really got these cuffs on me heavy, bro. I'll fix it.
But one of the most unexpected twists in his story was when he got involved with a gang. It all started in 2019 when he was preparing for a role in the film The Tax Collector, where he played a character named Creeper, a tax collector working for a crime lord who profited from gang activities.
This is Creeper.
You heard of me?
To fully embody the role, Shia took things to an extreme level. He went back to his old neighborhood in Echo Park, Los Angeles, and decided to get inked with the same tattoo his character had in the movie. But unlike other actors who might just slap on some temporary tattoos or go all in with makeup, Shia committed for real. He got a huge tattoo that covered his stomach, done by a local artist, Brian Ramirez, who later publicly thanked Shia for giving back to the community when he could have easily gone somewhere else for his ink.
And he was supposed to play a pretty bad guy. Shia leaves, he comes back with a bunch of tattoos. The director go, "Oh snap, fake tattoos for the role, that's smart." Shia go, "Nah, these real."
But it didn't stop there. During this time, Shia started hanging out with members of the Harpies gang, which is no small deal. The movie also featured rapper Conejo, who is known on the streets as G-Rabbit from the Harpies gang. Shia got close with him, and eventually, he didn't just hang around the gang. He got fully jumped in and put on, officially becoming affiliated with the Harpies.
Me trying to, I was trying to join a gang. I was I was hanging out with a bunch of Harpies members and was like fully jumped in and was a part of a gang.
Shia started throwing up the H, symbolizing his connection to the gang, and even got his affiliation co-signed by Conejo himself, who referred to Shia as family.
Hey, Creeper, come here real quick, say what's up.
What's up? Bang, 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 bang.
It's one thing to get into character, but Shia took this to a whole new level. This wasn't the first time Shia went all in for a role. During the filming of Fury, a war movie where he starred alongside A-listers like Brad Pitt and Scott Eastwood, Shia's dedication to the role bordered on obsession. He famously slashed his own face with a knife because he thought the makeup cuts didn't look real enough.
I see Brad Pitt in the mirror and I'm thinking, like, how do I motivate my boys, Like, how do we make this more? How do we get further? And I want to like cut my face, I'm rubbing blood on my face, and I'm kissing Brad, and I'm spitting blood.
How did you cut your face?
I had a knife.
But that's not even the wildest part. Shia actually pulled out one of his own teeth to make his character look more authentic and refused to shower for weeks because, as he put it, soldiers in the trenches didn't have time to bathe.
And then I went to the grip department, I got like some pliers, and I ripped my tooth out and spit blood all over the mirror, and at that everybody's like, "Oh, this is fucking crazy."
That level of commitment ended up causing some major tension on set. He even got into a fight with Scott Eastwood over something that didn't even involve him. but he was so deep into his character that he felt he had to defend his role. Apparently, his intense behavior almost got him fired from the movie, but Brad Pitt stepped in and convinced the director to keep him around.
I wasn't around a bunch of people who loved me, I might have gotten fired, you know? But what it did to us was it was like, it's game time.
Outside of these extreme acting methods, Shia has been involved in a series of scandals that nearly derailed his career entirely. He's had public breakdowns, arrests, and run-ins with the law that have made people question where it all went wrong. So what happened to Shia LaBeouf? How did the kid who started on Disney's Even Stevens and went on to become Hollywood's next big thing find himself spiraling out of control? Let's dive in deeper. On June 11th, 1986, Shia LaBeouf was born in Los Angeles, and from the start, his life wasn't exactly what you'd call conventional. His mother, Shayna, had been a dancer, but as time went on, her career didn't take off the way she had hoped. She ended up selling handmade jewelry and fabrics in Echo Park, a neighborhood that wasn't exactly thriving. His dad, Jeffrey, was a Vietnam War vet who took on an unusual job to make ends meet, working as a professional clown. Shia would later describe his parents as pretty weird people, but he always emphasized how much they loved him, and he loved them back. Unfortunately, love wasn't enough to keep their family together. Money was tight, really tight, and it wasn't long before his parents' relationship started to unravel, with financial struggles and his father's battles with addiction playing a big part in their divorce. Shia's upbringing was far from easy. There were times when he had to live with his uncle because his family simply couldn't afford to keep things stable. But by the time he was 12, he was living with his mom full-time, trying to make the best of the situation. For all the hardships, Shia didn't let his tough circumstances get him down too much. Sure, they were poor, and his mom struggled to provide for him, but that didn't stop him from enjoying life. In fact, Shia was a mature kid for his age, always finding ways to keep the mood light, often by doing impressions of his dad, which became a hit with his family. Even back then, it was clear Shia had a knack for performing. By the time he was 10, he was already doing stand-up comedy in local clubs. Picture that. Grown adults cracking up at this little kid who talked like he had the mind of a 50-year-old. That's just how Shia was, way ahead of his time. He had this drive and confidence that you just don't see in most people, let alone in a kid. So, it wasn't long before he set his sights on something bigger. Acting. The light bulb moment came one day when he saw a kid around his age who was all dressed up in fancy clothes. Shia, being Shia, straight up asked him, "How can you afford that?" And that's when he learned about the world of child actors. From that point on, Shia was determined. Unlike most kids his age who might dream about being on TV but not do much about it, Shia actually went out and chased it. He was so motivated that he started cold calling talent agents he found in the Yellow Pages, pretending to be his own agent. Now, obviously, most adults probably didn't buy that this kid was some seasoned Hollywood manager, but they didn't need to. His sheer determination spoke for itself, and it was clear Shia was destined for something big. Soon enough, Shia started landing small roles in commercials and guest spots on TV shows. He was making a name for himself bit by bit. But at age 12, everything changed. He scored the lead role in Even Stevens, a Disney Channel show that would become a huge hit.
Tom, your mom told me to... Ow! Tom! You almost grazed my lip!
This was a game changer. Shia was now a bona fide child star. With this new responsibility, Shia moved in with his dad, who became his on-set guardian. Off the set, though, Shia was the one supporting his father, attending Alcoholics Anonymous meetings with him to help him through his recovery. Even as his career was taking off, life was still tough, and Shia was juggling fame with the complicated reality of his family's struggles. Despite all of that, Shia's career kept skyrocketing. After Even Stevens, he moved on to bigger projects like the movie Holes, which was a major success, and then Constantine, where he starred alongside Keanu Reeves.
What are you doing? Right.
From there, Shia's ascent in Hollywood continued. He even hosted Saturday Night Live, which was another sign that he had truly arrived. But the real turning point came when he landed the lead role in Transformers. That movie was a massive hit, raking in over $700 million at the box office and cementing Shia's status as a major star. Then came Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, which pulled in even more. over $800 million globally. At this point, Shia LaBeouf was one of the hottest young actors in Hollywood, a career built from his sheer grit, talent, and unwavering persistence. He'd gone from a scrappy kid hustling for gigs to one of the most sought-after actors in the business. But like so many child stars before him, the fairy tale wasn't destined to last. In February 2013, Shia LaBeouf found himself in the middle of some serious drama when he was suddenly fired from what would have been his Broadway debut in Daniel Sullivan's production of Orphans. It was a huge opportunity for him, but things quickly went off the rails. The problem? A clash with his co-star Alec Baldwin. Apparently, Shia wasn't too happy with Alec's pace during rehearsals. He felt Alec wasn't memorizing his lines fast enough, which in Shia's eyes was dragging the whole production down. Instead of handling the situation privately like a professional, Shia went all in. He confronted Alec right there in front of everyone and let him have it, telling Alec exactly how he felt in a pretty aggressive way. Unsurprisingly, that created some serious bad blood. Alec wasn't about to take that quietly. After the blow-up, he pulled Sullivan and the stage manager aside, basically giving them an ultimatum. Either Shia goes or I go. It was one of those him or me situations, and well, it didn't take long before the decision was made. Shia was fired, and they brought in Ben Foster to replace him. Alec later talked about the whole thing in interviews, throwing a little shade by comparing Shia to a celebrity chef instead of a real Broadway actor. That definitely stung Shia, who had always taken his craft seriously, especially when it came to acting. So feeling like he needed to defend himself, Shia did something drastic. He leaked emails showing that Alec really was dragging things down by not learning his lines quickly enough. It was a move that made Shia feel vindicated, at least in his mind. But even though the facts might have been on his side, the way he handled everything just made him look bad. It was clear Shia had a hard time letting things go when they didn't go his way, and his intense pursuit of perfection was going to lead to more problems down the line.
I think because me and Alec had tension as men. Not as artists, but as men. I think in a room, that became a hard thing to deal with, you know, and when you got tension as men, that's tough till July, I think.
After all this drama, Shia did try to make peace by publicly apologizing to Alec. To his credit, Alec accepted the apology, even responding kindly by saying, "I don't have an unkind word to say about you, you have my word." It seemed like things had calmed down. But as is often the case with Shia, it wasn't that simple. When his apology email leaked, people noticed something odd. Parts of it were plagiarized. Shia had copied sections of his apology from other sources. This was a red flag for a lot of people, but some chalked it up as a one-off. Everyone makes mistakes, right? Especially in the entertainment industry where egos clash and social media blunders happen all the time. Unfortunately, this was just the start of a pattern that would follow Shia for the next year. He got caught in several more plagiarism scandals, and it was almost as if he didn't care about being caught. The most notable incident was when he wrote, directed, and produced a short film called HowardCantor.com. It didn't take long before people realized the film was eerily similar to the graphic novel Ghost World by Dan Clowes. In fact, the film even started with a monologue that was lifted word for word from Clowes' work. When people called him out, Shia pulled the film and apologized, claiming he didn't mean to rip it off but had been inspired by the novel. That would have been fine if he had just left it at that. But once again, people started digging, and they found that parts of his apology were also plagiarized from a random Yahoo Answers post of all places. By now it was getting bizarre. Was Shia playing some kind of elaborate joke, or was he just completely unaware of how reckless he was being? The uncertainty around Shia's behavior was never cleared up, because he wasn't doing interviews or explaining himself. So as far as the public knew, he was either making a point about plagiarism or he had some serious issues with originality. Whatever the case, things started to spiral out of control after this. It was no longer just quirky plagiarism scandals. By June 2014, Shia's antics took a darker turn. On June 26th, while attending a Broadway play, he caused a major disruption. He was reportedly yelling at the cast members, shouting at the audience, and even slapping one of the performers on the butt as they walked through the crowd. It was so bad that the police had to come and escort him out of the theater. He was arrested, charged with disorderly conduct, and later pled guilty in September of that year. Clearly, Shia wasn't doing okay at this point in his life. His behavior was erratic, and stories of his bizarre public antics were spreading all over the internet. It became hard to keep track of all the incidents, getting arrested, disrupting events, shouting at people in public. His actions screamed that something deeper was going on. It wasn't until later that Shia finally began opening up about the root of these problems. Turns out he was battling some heavy demons, similar to the ones his father had struggled with, namely addiction. Like so many child stars who found themselves themselves navigating a treacherous Hollywood landscape, Shia ended up in a dark place, wrestling with a combination of addiction, narcissism, and a lack of control over his own life. He had grown up in an environment that no one, especially a child, should have to endure. Constant pressure, surrounded by people looking to exploit him, all while grappling with the echoes of an abusive home life. What Shia really needed was help, but unfortunately that wasn't something he found until much later, long after he had torpedoed his career and driven away anyone who cared enough to try and pull him back from the edge.
Because freedom without guidelines and limitations is fucking madness. You know, if I strip you naked and throw you in the ocean, you'll be free, but you won't enjoy it. You know, I need guidance.
These were weird years for Shia. He kept popping up in the news for all the wrong reasons, doing odd things in public, like the infamous time he showed up at the German premiere of Nympho wearing a paper bag over his head with the words, "I am not famous anymore," scribbled across it. He doubled down on that same stunt at a bizarre art installation, reinforcing the fact that, famous or not, Shia had a tendency to make people talk. But despite the personal chaos, Shia was still managing to book work, and he even landed a role in the 2014 war film Fury. His performance in Fury was widely praised, reminding people of his talent.
Here am I. Send me.
Yet, as much as people were impressed by the work, the stories coming from behind the scenes painted a picture of a man completely devoted to his craft, though perhaps a little too much. Shia is known as a method actor, meaning he immerses himself entirely into the role. For Fury, that meant refusing to shower for weeks at a time to feel like a soldier in the trenches, even going as far as knocking out one of his own teeth and getting into physical altercations with his co-stars. That said, the cast formed a tight bond during filming, and Shia's work ethic earned the respect of Brad Pitt and others on set. It seemed like, for a brief moment, Shia was back in the public's good graces. His talent was undeniable, and people were willing to overlook the past controversies. But the peace didn't last. Fast forward to 2020, and once again, Shia was making headlines for all the wrong reasons. He was kicked off the set of yet another project because his behavior made people uncomfortable. Not long after, he was arrested yet again, this time for battery and petty theft charges. It was becoming painfully clear that despite his stints in rehab, Shia wasn't doing the necessary work to address the deeper issues at play. The media narrative around him was beginning to turn entirely negative, and his once promising career was hanging on by a thread. Then came The Tax Collector, a film that might be the most quintessentially Shia LaBeouf story you'll ever hear. The movie itself wasn't great and got terrible reviews, but what happened behind the scenes is where the real story lies. Shia played an LA gang enforcer, and during production he became close with a real street gang member who was involved with the film. So close in fact that Shia ended up getting jumped in, an initiation ritual where someone is beaten by gang members to prove their loyalty. According to Shia, he was accepted by the LA Harpies gang, even getting gang tattoos inked on his body. Pictures from that time show him proudly throwing up gang signs, often surrounded by real gang members.
Me trying to, I was trying to join a gang. I was I was hanging out with a bunch of Harpies members and was like fully jumped in and was a part of a gang.
It was one of those stories that, on the surface, sounds almost too bizarre to be true. But in a strange way, it made sense for Shia. He was searching for a sense of belonging, and for a while, he found it within that gang, where he claimed to have found a sense of family that had been missing from his life for so long. Yet, even this new chapter in his life didn't stop him from spiraling further. The scandals kept piling up, and then came the bombshell allegations from multiple ex-girlfriends. One of them accused Shia of emotional and physical abuse, and her accusations opened the floodgates, with others stepping forward to share their own experiences.
This morning, we are hearing from British singer-songwriter FKA Twigs in her first TV interview since filing a civil lawsuit in December against actor and former boyfriend Shia LaBeouf. Accuses LaBeouf of sexual battery, assault, and inflicting emotional distress. He denies all of the allegations.
It painted a dark picture of Shia, a man who had been broken by his own demons and was now breaking those closest to him. A lawsuit followed, with at least 2 former partners joining together to outline the ways he had harmed them. The trial was originally set for late 2023, but has since been delayed and is expected to take place this year. Shia's life and career were in absolute ruins. At that point, it seemed like everyone hated him, and for good reason. But for the first time in his life, Shia seems genuinely remorseful for everything he's done. He's not dodging the accusations or making excuses anymore. He's owning up to all of it. He admits to being exactly what people have called him, a terrible person who treated everyone around him horribly. He acknowledges that he let his ego and narcissism completely take over, driving him to be the best no matter who he hurt along the way. Shia was so focused on his career and boosting his own ego that he started seeing people as nothing more than tools to get ahead. He used anyone and anything to feed this endless, unsatisfied need inside him, never once thinking about how it affected others. He's also admitted that for a long time he wasn't genuinely trying to change. It was all about getting back to the top and staying there no matter the cost. But now, after hitting rock bottom in a way few people ever do, it's a different story. Shia seems to finally realize that it's now or never, and surprisingly, it looks like he's actually on the right path this time.